Hey everyone, we're out on a beautiful but really hot day in my 1991 Nissan D21 Hardbody, but thankfully it has air conditioning that works pretty good. Let's hit the road in this amazingly fun little truck to rip around in and talk a little bit about it. Because the last time this truck was on the channel, I was repairing the driver's floor rust, and the truck overall was in a lot different shape. I'm not sure how the audio is going to be because the exhaust is pretty loud, so hopefully we get some usable footage. For any of you that regularly watch these videos, I apologize that it's been a couple weeks. For about a week and a half, I was pretty sick with some type of cold, so I'm just now getting back into the rhythm of things. I bought this truck maybe a couple months ago, and I only just got it road ready within the past couple weeks. The biggest things contributing it to being roadworthy was this new windshield, because the old one was completely shattered from the hood flying up on a previous owner, as well as getting brand new tires, fixing a little bit of buggy quirks, and also making sure that the truck was not overheating. I put more money than I needed to into this truck because I thought that it was getting too hot. So I changed the fan clutch, the coolant, the OEM thermostat. I changed the thermostat a couple times, but in the end I bought a temperature gun, and I haven't manually gotten any unhealthy readings. So I've came to the conclusion that the temperature gauge is just reading a little too high, which I suspect is because of a voltage regulator on the back of the gauge cluster. It never gets into danger zone. It just reads a bit over half, which is normal for these trucks, partially because of issues like air bubbles in the cooling system, but also just because of the gauges acting up electronically. But I bet what you guys are mostly interested in is the numbers. How much I spent to get this little truck on the road, roadworthy, how much I paid for it in the first place. So luckily I've recorded every single penny that's gone into the truck, and we're gonna break it all down. Quite amazingly, for such an old work truck on a super hot day like this, probably feels like 30 degrees Celsius out here, but I'm keeping nice and cool in the cab. So first things first, this is my 1991 Nissan D21 Hardbody with the 6-foot box and the regular cab, which is a pretty sought after combination for modifications and being more of a street truck. It's 5-speed manual transmission and rear wheel drive. Let me know if you've been on this channel long enough to remember my 4x4 80s Nissan D21. I'm gonna grab my phone and pull up the spreadsheet of all my costs and go through them with you. So I've got the spreadsheet here, and 2 months ago I bought this truck along with a parts truck for $4,600 Canadian. All these prices are going to be in Canadian. Overall, it was a pretty good deal for the trucks, considering this one was almost rust-free besides the driver's feet area, but there were still a bit more quirks to tie up than I had expected. And actually, long story short, I paid $4,000, but it was an additional $800 to have each truck delivered to my house from out of town. I paid a friend $400 each time to deliver them while I was busy with work. So that brings us to the starting cost of $4,600. 32 bucks went to cowl inserts, just the plastic trim pieces on the hood. Now, the shifter was super incredibly sloppy, which was kind of concerning, but it turned out just to be the shifter bushing was completely worn off. So I replaced that with a GK Tech solid shifter bushing for $35. And then the first round of thermostat and coolant for 52 bucks went in. I spent $69 on the drive belts, $144 on a new battery. The original one was shot. 90 bucks for a Nissan's Rad fan clutch, $390 for brand new tires installed, mounted, balanced on the wheels. I swapped these wheels off of the parts truck because they were the nice looking OEM ones. Now another OEM thermostat, this time for $46. I ordered from a local dealership. Now I replaced a broken tail light and the engine coolant temperature sensor for $72. I spent a couple $100 on registration, not to even bring up insurance. Just the single signal column shifter here. The old one was burnt out, so the headlights would randomly turn on. That was only $27 just off Amazon, and it feels great. And now the windshield was $250, just got installed. And then I just did a fresh oil change. Oil and filter was $80. The only filter in stock was an expensive K&N one, which I guess was 20 something dollars, a little more pricey than just a regular filter. Then I spent $70 on a fuel pump, which I don't think I ended up even needing to do, but I just got that in as well. So I'll keep the old parts I changed without needing to change, unfortunately, and then $27 on a fuel filter. So that might have been boring to go through. If you're paying attention, can you guess what the total is now for this truck? $6,436. That's not too much considering it's rust-free now and it runs pretty great for the most part. And these trucks are really hard to come by in this condition. I'll put the USD equivalent on the screen so you can get an idea of what that is in your area. Now here comes the bonus side of things. With the parts truck, I salvaged what I can, and I still have some parts that I could sell off of it if I don't end up using them. But I sold the old engine block that was in the parts truck for $200. I sold the transmission for $260, the rear axle for $350, the gauge cluster for $50, and the bed, fenders, signals, and headlights for $200 off the parts truck. So the total parts that I was able to sell off the parts truck so far was $1,070. So that brought my total invested into this truck down to $5,366. That might come down more if I end up selling some extra parts I have. Having that parts truck to part out really helped me bring the cost of this truck down and pay off some of the money I was putting into it. And at the end of it, I had a pretty bare bones frame and chopped up cab sitting in my backyard that eventually someone picked up for free to use for their own different project, whether they end up getting some scrap money for it or, like they said, they were putting an old international truck on the frame. So there's definitely some more stories that go along with all that money I put into it and all the work I've done in it. But that's the summary of all the money I have invested into this truck. $6,500 said and done, but counting the parts I've sold, $5,400. The next things I'd probably want to do is just get the exhaust fixed. It might need exhaust hangers and also just a muffler to make it quieter, a little less obnoxious. It's a super fun truck to drive around. A little pickup like this is pretty much every teenage boy's dream. I know it was mine when I was younger in high school looking for first vehicles. This is exactly what I would have wanted. But the thing is now, I don't actually know how long I'm gonna keep it for. This is a rear wheel drive truck, and my Volvo 240 wagon is also rear wheel drive. And I don't exactly need two rear wheel drive vehicles once this Canadian winter comes around, especially a pickup truck that's gonna be a lot less capable in the snow and ice. Also, if I ended up selling this, it'd just be more money to put into perfecting my Volvo 240 wagon, or just to put towards some other vehicles that I have in mind. I wanna hear your thoughts about it. I wanna have some fun with it and share some adventures in it with you guys. When I got the truck, it had a sliding 3-piece window with some peeling tint, but I like the clean look of this solid windows, so I pulled it out of the parts truck and swapped it pretty easily. Because these don't use glue, it's just this gasket that holds them in place. When I got this truck, it didn't even have carpet in, so I had to swap this vinyl out of that old parts truck. But I got a decent vinyl floor out of it. As you'll see, as far as rust goes on these trucks, this one is in amazing shape. It's definitely been used as a work vehicle, but at the same time, these D21s, at least where I live, are usually completely rotted out on all the rockers, the floors, everywhere. The fenders, the boxes, usually all rusted, all gone. So this is still a really solid vehicle. Both sides, the rockers are in amazing shape. And thank you so much for joining me today on this video. Again, more to come soon now that I'm back in good health. Subscribe to stick around for more videos, and as always, safe driving, everybody.